I'm Kira Faye, your resident idiot, and this is my wonderful husband Josh, who's the mechanical genius of the household. And he built me this custom shoulder mount, and so I wanted him to tell all you about it because I'm getting some questions. So, take it away, Josh.
Okay, so recently my lovely wife acquired these two rails and these two pieces that go on the rail. This worked out great because then all I had to build was handles and a shoulder rest. So to do that, I went to one of our local metal stores, and they've got a nice surplus section. So I went to the surplus section, found about a 5-foot rod that was 16 millimeters thick, which is great, except what I found out that the standard thickness for the rails is 15 millimeters. So after cutting the pipes to the length I needed for the hind rest as well as the crossbar, and that was literally just kind of holding it up, guessing. There was no exact measurements going on other than making them the same length. So the blocks of aluminum were purchased, and I just found about a 15 millimeter drill bit. It was a standard size, so it actually ends up being more like 15.6 millimeters. So that's and I used a drill press to drill the holes, which works really well. So I do not suggest drilling the holes without a drill press. Now this would be one of the blocks. I just measured out the distance of the rails and then drilled holes in equal distance apart, which was about 60 millimeters. For locking the rails in place, or the blocks in place on the rails, I went with a cap bolt. Looks like these ones right here. And I was suggested, the reason they're called cap bolts is because you can pop a cap right onto it, and you have the ability to tighten it via that way. It works really well for on the rail, but it does not work really well for some reason when you're on these shorter ones. For those, I actually swapped back out to ones without the caps on them, so that way you could use an Allen wrench, because otherwise you couldn't hand tighten it well enough to keep it from moving back and forth.
I gotta tell you that I used this at a wedding on Saturday, and I started out with the handle straight down, and there's a decent amount of fatigue on my arms after a while. With the handles, with these pieces angled back and the handle straight down, very close to my body, I felt like I was able to handle the weight a lot better, and I'm pretty weak. This thing comes out to about 7 pounds, so not too bad, and I was shooting with a Canon XAJ1, which, fairly light. I'm a wuss. I still got a little tired, but it certainly helps.
So now, would you have been able to last the whole day shooting the wedding if you did not have this?
Not that steady. Not as steady as I was. It adds another point of contact, and that's the main idea.
Now, for those of you that are wondering what's going on back here, this was actually just a piece of foam that went into a laptop bag that I had. It was a divider piece. So now all I did for that was I added a piece of aluminum on the inside, as you can see. I bent two pieces of aluminum to give it shape, and then just attached a bolt going through the aluminum to the rail, so that way we can adjust it back and forth.
The one thing that I do want to change about it is I think it could use some counterweight on the back, because especially I was using a Canon XAJ1, and I had a little remote with it that had a very short cord. So even with angling the arm back, I had to have the camera very, very far towards the front of the rig. So that's a lot of weight on the front, and I'd be okay with increasing the weight overall just to help balance that out, so it's a little less strain on my arms. I did feel that I got a lot of stability out of the rig by, when it was really important, by pushing against the pad curved on the back of my shoulder. So I could do some pretty long zoom shots, pretty steady, just by working with that.
Before I realized that we had these plates, I was going to just use my own rails for this, and then use wider blocks to then attach a quick release plate or some sort of screw adapter for the camera, which definitely would not have been as easy, so I'm glad that we found this. Now what I've noticed, looking online, looking at the different websites, you can go to places like Sammy's Camera and buy just the quick release plate for the rail system, or you can buy just, 2 rails. And honestly, that's not expensive. This definitely was a lot cheaper. We came out only spending about $80 on this rail, which this system, the way it's set up, would probably cost you closer to about $600 from what I was looking at.
So you can do if you're cheap and or poor like me, or you've got someone, a little bit handy like him. Don't be afraid to try something out, because this worked really well.
The talking shoulder rig.